Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for another exciting CLIA Global Cruise Line webinar to discover your client's next dream vacation on one of AmaWaterways' 8 French itineraries. My name is Johanna de Guzman. I'm the Manager of Industry Relations for North American Travel Trade Membership here at CLIA, and I'm going to quickly go through some housekeeping before introducing our presenter. The webinar will run for about 45 to 50 minutes with time for questions at the end. Please feel free to type your questions into the questions module of the webinar, and we will get to them at the conclusion of the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted on CLIA's YouTube channel, CLIA Global. It is my pleasure to introduce our presenter, Jessica Benitez. Jessica has been with AmaWaterways for 15 years, during which she has held several key positions, including reservation specialist, group specialist, and inside sales coordinator and manager of strategic partner networks. Recently promoted to Director of Strategic Partner Networks, she works closely with host agency travel partners and select strategic accounts, providing support to their home offices while offering sales support to their travel advisor networks in partnership with AmaWaterways business development team. Her passion for the travel industry and her love for exploration are reflected in her dedication and enthusiasm for supporting travel partners. Jessica is committed to ensuring the success of her partners and contributing to the growth of the travel industry. And with that, take it away, Jessica.
Thank you. Thank you, Johanna. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Jessica Benitez, and today we are going to talk about the Très Magnifique Rivers of France. So let's get started. So like Johanna says, my name is Jessica Benitez, and I'm the Director of Strategic Partner Networks. And this year is my 15-year anniversary with AmaWaterways. It has been definitely a wonderful experience. When I started with the company, our brand new ship on the river was the Ama Dolce. We had 4 ships, and now we have 28 ships. So we certainly have grown. And I have had the privilege of experiencing the Rhone and the Saône. The Bordeaux is on my list, so we will be talking about those later on in our presentation. So first and foremost, family owned and operated. We started in the year 2002. Many of you know Mr. Rudy Schreiner, our president, also known as the godfather of river cruising. Rudy was born in Vienna, Austria, along the Danube River. And he is an architect by trade. So Rudy actually designs our ships. And you know, his beautiful wife, Kristen Karst, born in Dresden, Germany, the heart and soul of AmaWaterways. She was born in Germany, so we have our European heritage, and this has always been important to us because, you know, we do things. It's always important to Rudy and Christine having that family aspect. I usually jokingly say that we're nimble like a jungle cat, right? We can change, we can pivot, we're very good at having our hands on the pulse of what the public wants. Our goal has always been to create a fantastic river cruise product that if you would want to come back to on over and over again. It's very important to us. Rudy, as a godfather of river cruising, we're known for leading the way because we have incorporated many new things on the rivers throughout the many years. And I can tell you myself from experience, 15 years ago, river cruising looked so different than what it looks like now. It has changed, it has grown, and it has really adapted to what the consumers want, what the guests want to see, with the variety of options, with the tours, hiking tours, biking tours, and we'll talk more about those later. But of course, we also have the magnetic Mr. Gary Murphy, whose father, Mr. Jimmy Murphy, founded Brendan Tours. Mr. Jimmy Murphy came to America with $10 in his pocket, and his first job in travel was with Cunard as in the mailroom. And from there, he went on to own Brendan Tours through Ireland and, of course, AmaWaterways. So the most important thing I think about rivers to remember is that oceans take you to countries, but rivers take you through them. This is one of the most amazing things about traveling on the river, is that you're traveling through the veins of Europe. You get to cruise right along the river, right in the heart of the city, and you get to experience some of the most beautiful sights along the way. Remember that the water of the river was used as water source for many of these towns. So you have a lot of the castles and abbeys and fortresses and the towns facing the river. So you have some of the most spectacular views. And really what I think is really the most important thing and the most special thing about river cruising is that you get to maximize your leisure time in town, again, because you're so close. I tell people who have not been on the river cruise before or who don't know about river is that if ocean cruising and land touring had a baby, it would be river cruising because you get the best of both worlds, right? You unpack once, you come on, your floating hotel goes with you from one place to the other. You don't have to get on the bus. You don't have to go wait hours to go from one place to the other. You wake up in the morning, you're right in town. The time it takes you to go from your stateroom to the town is probably 10 minutes. And that's because 6 minutes you are walking into town. You're that close. There's no tendering, there's no long lines. It's such a different experience, such a great way to see these parts of the world. And again, maximize your leisure time. You have your city tour in the morning. You can come back for lunch. I know I do because the food is so good. So I come back for lunch. You can go back out into town and, have a nice beer, go to the cafe, do some shopping. Of course, pastries. That's one thing that you must have in Europe. Enjoy the wonderful pastries. But there's so much to do. And the great thing is you have the time to do so when you see these beautiful towns. So discover the world of AmaWaterways. Here you can see everywhere we travel to. And the core of our product is in Europe. So modern day river cruising started in the 1990s with the build of the Main-Danube Canal. So really, if we wanted to, you can go from Amsterdam all the way down to the Black Sea. And that's because the Main-Danube Canal connected all these rivers. But the most popular rivers is going to be the Danube and the Rhine. So they call it the Father Danube, the Mother Danube and the Father Rhine. The Danube is known for the grand capitals of Europe, Amsterdam to Budapest. Oh, sorry, Amsterdam to Budapest is a longer one. I apologize. That's our magnificent Europe. It is Prague to Budapest, that's on the Danube. Amsterdam to Basel is on the Rhine. The Rhine has the UNESCO World Heritage Sites where you can see the castles and the fortresses are very famous. The Danube, of course, has the Wachau Valley, where you can see the beautiful vineyards. We also sail on the Moselle. The Moselle is one of the most beautiful rivers and really an underrated river because it has such scenic cruising. In fact, Rudy will tell our captains when he's on board on the Moselle to slow down because he wants people to just enjoy the scenery as we're cruising. Beautiful, quaint little towns. Just you think you've seen the cutest little town, and then you see the next one. It's just one town after the other of beautiful, quaint, half-timbered houses. So beautiful, absolutely stunning. You have that very famous horseshoe that everyone likes to see along the rivers. That's on the Moselle. It's very popular, and it's very beautiful. A lot of people, when they think of river cruising, they're thinking of the spots along the Moselle, but they don't know it's called the Moselle. That's how famous it is. Of course, we're in France. We're going to be talking about France today on the Rhone, the Saône, the Seine, and the Garonne River in the Burgundy region. We're in Portugal on the Douro. The Douro is doing so well. It's so popular. We have 2 ships on the Douro right now, and we're going to bring in a third, AmaCintra, in 2025. We are in Vietnam on the Mekong River, Vietnam and Cambodia. We are in Egypt on the Nile. We have 2 ships in Egypt. We are on the Chobe River in Africa. This is our wildlife tour. This is the one tour river cruise that we have that doesn't have a nautical schedule because the nautical is to follow the animals. The beautiful thing about this is that you get to see the animals. They come to you because the water is their water source. That's what they drink water. So when you look out your window, you can see the animals. So it's such a great way to see, when you want to do safari, to see the animals from the river. Christine had said that you can see the animals bathing in the morning, right? With the water, you look out your window, there's a little bit of noise out there, and it's the elephants bathing, or you get to see the hippos coming through. So unique, so special. And of course, brand new to AmaWaterways is going to be the Magdalena River. We are the very first river cruise line on the Magdalena River that is going to be cruising. There has not been cruising since the 1970s on the Magdalena River in Colombia. And back then it was used as for trade. So we are going to Colombia, we are setting the infrastructure from scratch. This is what AmaWaterways, where we really shine, is discovering new destinations, creating the infrastructure. We are doing it. It is very exciting. Rudy was just there last week. And here we're going to be going from Cartagena to Barranquilla. We're going to be going to Mompox. That's going to be the highlight of the tour. Because the Mompox, it's like time has stopped there, and you have the colonial city in Mompox. It's very beautiful. And this is the world of AmaWaterways. So of course, we are happy and proud to own our ships. All of our ships are ours and they're owned outright. We have 29 ships, and I did mention to you that Rudy is the architect of our ships. So he designed them, he created them. We have our signature twin balcony ships. And what is a twin balcony? We'll see some photos later on. But the twin balcony is you have a balcony where you can sit outside, close the door behind you, and next to it, you have the French doors. Because we know it's always the case that you will have that when you have two travelers traveling together, one person wants to be outside enjoying the hot sun, one person wants to be inside in the cool AC. So with the twin balcony, you can do both. The innovations of AmaWaterways, we continue to innovate on the river. We talked about the twin balconies, and here you can see them sitting outside. This is the great thing, is you can close the door, enjoy the outside, your room stays cool. Also, the overall design of the cabin, really maximizing your storage space. We know that's important to have on the rivers. Of course, wellness program. Wellness is very important, near and dear to Christine's heart. We have our hiking tours, we have our biking tours, we have our wellness classes on board. The wellness classes, we have yoga, stretching, Pilates, dancing classes, spin classes on the Ama Magna, to something as simple as a digestive walk after lunch. It's just about overall wellness, and the level of wellness is up to the individual. How much or how little you do, it's there. You can use it if you like, because we know wellness is something we want to bring with us wherever we are, not just at home, but also on vacation. So we also focus on sustainability. We are proud to say that all of our European fleet is awarded with a sustainability award. Pickleball is taking over the world, and it has made its way to the Ama Magna. So now we have the crown jewel of our fleet, Ama Magna, built at double the width of your traditional river cruise ship. What did we do with all that space? A traditional river cruise ship holds about 160 people. So built at double the width, Ama Magna only holds 198 people. So we created larger staterooms. The cabins on Ama Magna range from 250 square feet to 710 square feet with our owner suite. And we have multiple restaurants, 4 restaurants, full-size pool, full-size gym, multiple lounges. The Ama Magna really is a destination of itself. And Ama Magna is sailing on the Danube, both upper and lower Danube. The luxury of space. So here's another beautiful photo of our twin balcony staterooms. Look how much view you have. And this is such a treat, because when you're on the river, there is always something to see. We always say that on the river, we have sea days, S-E-E, not sea ocean days, because on the river, there's always something to see. You get off in town multiple times a day. Look at those beautiful windows, so you can see such gorgeous sights as you cruise down the river. The first thing I do in the morning when I wake up on the river cruise is open up the window, right? Open up the drapes and see where we are. Open up the door to get that fresh air, see if it's going to be a warm day, or it's going to be a hot day, a warm day or a cold day. But you have all that wonderful space to enjoy the world as you cruise by. We have fantastic service on board. Our staff truly is fantastic. an advisor told me once, and they said the difference with AMA staff and other river cruises we've been on is that on AMA, they want to be your friend. They welcome you on board. They know what you like. After the first 2 days of being on board, they'll know your preference. If you like white wine, if you like red wine, if you're a coffee drinker, if you're a tea drinker, they're so welcoming, they're so kind, and they just genuinely have such a big heart welcoming our guests and just making sure that our guests have the very best experience they can. That is the goal of our crew on board. They are simply fantastic. And of course, we have our wonderful, amazing cruise managers. Our cruise managers are with you every step of the way. So from the very beginning to the very end, including the land package. So if your guests take the land package with us, with a pre-cruise, they're there to welcome them. At the hotel, they will have their own desk, so they have their very own concierge. If your guests need anything along the way during the hotel, the cruise manager is there to help them, whether they want to exchange money, hotel reservations, what they're looking for something. I mean, if they're looking for something in particular, if restaurants, whatever it is that they like, the cruise manager is there with them every step of the way to facilitate. Especially, you know, if your guests are a little concerned about going out of the country, or if they're concerned that they don't know the language, the cruise manager is there to really facilitate everything. So they have someone there that they can trust, someone there that is there to make sure that they're having the very best time. Our cruise managers do not go home until the very last guest goes home. They are with them from very beginning to the very end. And of course, we have our fantastic sip and sail. We were the first to come up with our sip and sail. And this is our happy hour, 1 hour before dinner, where we have an open bar. This is definitely a favorite time for many. You know, everyone likes to enjoy and talk about their day, what they did today, what they're going to do tomorrow, as they enjoy their favorite cocktail. My favorite cocktail, from the sip and sail, is our lemon drop. It is our famous lemon drop martini that we have on board. But we also will have different cocktails depending on the day and depending on the destination that can be local to the region. And of course, we have our wine and beer that is included with lunch and dinner. We do have local wines, which is fantastic because you can really savor the local flavor with the wines. You know, we talked about the Rhine. So on the Rhine, you can enjoy wonderful Rieslings. On the Danube, you can enjoy wonderful Gernewitz-Lehners. So you can really savor the destination because there are so many different wines on the different rivers. You can take those in and enjoy. And our wines are not house wines. They are very fine wines. And of course, we have beer available with lunch and dinner. A lot of people like to have their nice cold beer after a warm day in town. And of course, we have our mimosa breakfast. So we do have sparkling wine available for breakfast. You're on vacation, so start your day off with a nice mimosa. We have fantastic cuisine on board. We are proud members of the Chaîne du Roi Tour. The Chaîne du Roi Tour is the oldest gastronomical society in France, and we are proud members of that. We actually have, it's by invitation only. We have a special dinner on board called the Chaîne Dinner. So, and we'll talk about the next slide, but about the chef's table. But we have our food is made, everything is made on board. The bread's made on board. We have fresh food farm to table. You can see, if you wake up early enough, you can see the chefs going out shopping. We even make our ice cream on board. Our ice cream is delicious. We have one called the Ama Serena flavor. If you ever come on board, I recommend you try it. We have wonderful bread, wonderful pastries. The food on board truly is fantastic. And again, local to the region. So if you're in Vienna, you can have some Wiener Schnitzel. If you're in Budapest, you can have some goulash. If you're in France, you can try the frog legs. I tried the frog legs. It was a little bit of meat, but very tasty. So you get to really, again, savor the food, it's part of the immersive experience, right? Having the local flavors. But the great thing is you're on a cruise. So if you don't want to try it, you don't have to, because we have our wonderful staples. We have steak, we have chicken, we have wonderful fresh fish. So you take as much or as little as you like if you want to try on board. One of the great things I always like is that When we're in town, the guides will talk about the local pastries or the local flavors. Like, for example, in Vienna, the soccer torte, the special chocolate cake. And then, they'll recommend places you can have it. But let's say you were shopping, or let's say you went into a museum, so you didn't have time to have the soccer torte in town. You come back, and guess what we're having for dinner, for dessert that day? Soccer torte. So again, we incorporate the local flavors onto your day-to-day to really, so you can taste the local flavors as well as see them during your excursions. Chef's Table Restaurant, now this I have to say is the favorite dinner for many. Chef's Table Restaurant is an intimate dining venue that seats 24 to 28 guests. It's a 7-course tasting menu. We have a sommelier there that pairs each course of food with the wine. And guess what? It's included for all your guests. For our competitors, this dinner can range anywhere from $200 to $250, but for our guests, it's included. Excellent value. And the nice thing about Chef's Table Restaurant is that whether you go on the first day or the last day, it is a fixed menu. So your guests will have the same fantastic experience. And this is what I was talking about when you get to choose what day you go to Chef's Table. An insider tip is remind your guests that you have the Scenderotto Sword dinner. That's a very special dinner. And you have the Chef's Table dinner. So you have those 2 very special dinners. So don't book your Chef's Table dinner on the night that you would do Scenderotto Sword dinner. If you let your guests know that, they'll be very impressed with your knowledge of AmaWaterways. But so there's no cost to make a reservation at the Chef's Table restaurant, and they can make these reservations on board. Do not worry, everyone will have a chance to eat at the Chef's Table restaurant at least once. So no guest gets to go again until every guest has gone. So it's an experience for all to enjoy. We have fantastic onboard entertainment, again, local to the region. We are going through a small town, so we have folkloric dancers, we have the local musicians, we have La Strada, which is a string quartet that comes on board. A part of immersing yourself in the culture and learning about the culture is learning about their music and learning about the writers who created the music. Very interesting. The folkloric dancers, wow, those ladies, they really have the moves. I have to say they have the moves, especially when they're dancing with, the bottle of wine on their head and they're jumping around. It's like, wow, talk about balance. How do you keep that on? But it's lots of fun. After dinner, we have our entertainment, our local entertainment. Our wellness program. So we talked about a little bit about the hiking on board, the biking on board. The great thing about biking on board is that you get to see so much of the town because it's a guided tour on the bikes. You get to see more than you would on a walking tour, and you get to explore the destinations like the locals do. Of course, we have our hiking tours, also take in some of the most spectacular sites. And our wellness host is dedicated simply to wellness. So he's not doing anything else. They're there to really customize for you. I know when I was last on board, I had a guest who was doing personal one-on-one training sessions with the wellness host every day, an hour before dinner. They did their workout. So it's up to you what you want to do. If you want to do a jog, they're happy to map a route out for you. If you want to do stretches, yoga, Pilates, we have our champagne yoga in the morning. So there's something for everyone. And yes, we talked about the hiking and the biking, but we haven't really talked about the tasting tours. We have fantastic tasting tours also included. So we have, pretzel making, one of my favorite tours, chocolate, waffles, and beer tour. We have the Taste of Bratislava, where you have beautiful meats and cheeses and nuts that you can pair with wine and beer. All of these are included. So let's again talk about the value of a river cruise is that every excursion on board is included. Your guests do not have to pay anything extra. That's excellent value for your guests to decide what they would like to do for the day in town. Our local guides are truly fantastic. They're, a lot of them have lived in these towns for their entire life, and they're so proud and so happy to take our guests around and show them the best spots and teach them share the history and talk about the food and the cathedral and myths. I really love hearing about the folklore of the towns as well. They're local to the region, very well educated. You know, one time I got a college professor and he said, well, I'm a tour guide in the summer because, you know, I'm off and I love showing people about my town. There's always something wonderful to learn with the guides. Now let's talk about our fantastic French itineraries. So we have our French itineraries on the Seine. We have 2 itineraries on the Seine, Paris and Normandy, which is round trip Paris. And then we have Impressions of Seine and Paris, which is Paris to Le Havre. We have Rhône and Saône. This is southern France. This is, you know, I love southern France because you get to, this is where Parisians go for vacation. You know, it's just a commerce pace of life, wonderful cheeses, wonderful wines. You have the beautiful lavender fields, sunflower fields. Southern France is just so special. And of course, we have Bordeaux. Bordeaux known for the wonderful wines, the Garonne region. And brand new coming next year is we have our 2-week Grand River cruises, Grand Seine and Bordeaux, and Grand Seine and Rhône. And this is by popular demand because we noticed that a lot of our guests were already naturally pairing the two because it's very easy. Like for example, on the Seine, round trip Paris, and then from Paris, you can go on the Rhône, or from Paris, you can go to Bordeaux. People really want to extend their stays. People are looking to have those 2-week cruises. So we have facilitated these for your guests. We take care of the transfers, getting them from one ship to the other. Really a great way to see more of France. Our French balcony ships. So in France, we do have our French balcony ships. So we talked a little bit about the twin balcony ships, but for the majority here, we're going to have the French balcony ships. The ships are 360 foot long and 38 foot wide. 170 square feet are the cabins. These ships are a little cozier than the twin balcony ships, perfect for this region because of the low bridges. When I was on the Rhone, it was kind of exciting. You're up on the sun deck and then they would say you have to lay down on your lounger because you're going down these the bridges are so low, you're so close. So it's kind of exciting going under there. But of course, they'll tell you when this is not always the case. But when you are up on the sun deck, they'll let you know low bridges are coming. Either sit down or lay down if you're on the lounger, or don't get up when you're going over under those low bridges. That's why these ships are really wonderful for that space. And then on the Rhone, we do cruising between Lyon and Arles. We do have the Ama Christina. It is the only twin balcony ship that we have in this region. And the Seine, so round trip Paris. I have to tell you my story on the Seine. We arrived into Paris. We were having dinner, and then our cruise manager walked by and she said, "We are going to be setting sail at 9:30, so come up and we'll do a sail away." And I thought, okay, well, it's 9:30, it's kind of late, but we went up, and when we went up to the sun deck, what do I see but the Eiffel Tower twinkling? It was the best way to set sail. You know, leaving Paris, Eiffel Tower twinkling, sailing away, the city of lights in all its splendor. So, so beautiful. This is what your guests want to see when they're in Paris, right? They want to see the Eiffel Tower and they want to see the city floating away, but you get to do that from your luxury cruise ship, which is fantastic. So the Seine cruise starts with 2 nights in Paris. And we do offer the tour of the Eiffel Tower. We go to Notre Dame, the Arc of Triomphe, Champs-Élysées, and we also, you know, the City of Lights, Paris. It's a great way to start your cruise. I do recommend, when guests ask me, should I take a pre or a post? First, I say take both, right? Take a pre and the post. But if you only have time for one, I would say take the pre, because that way when you arrive, you can rest, take it easy, get used to the time zone difference before you get on board and really hit the ground running with your shore excursions. Highlight here is the Monet Gardens in Giverny. This is such a beautiful highlight for many on the Seine. Oh, absolutely beautiful. Admire the water lilies, the Japanese bridges, the willow trees. And then of course we have Rouen. Rouen, also we know is the destination where Joan of Arc was burned at the stake. But we also have the Great Clock, also known for its wonderful food. You know, macaroons in Rouen are absolutely to die for. Such a great town to walk around, stroll. We dock right by Rouen, so you can really spend as much time as your guests want to wandering the streets of Rouen. Oh, and then the highlight for many is the Normandy beaches, DJ beaches. And this one we offer a half day or a full day tour. I usually recommend the full day tour because that way your guests can go spend more time at Omaha Beach and Juno Beach. We do offer on this day, we ask if you want to go see the US beaches or the Canadian beaches to learn about the history. But it's such a, you know, when you go visit the beaches and the cemetery, you see all those young men, the memorial is very moving because you learn about the young men, how young they were, a lot of them being teenagers. It's so much history and the war. So if you have people who are interested in in the war or in history, this is definitely a must do for them. And of course, we have the Saône. So the Saône is absolutely, so this one we have the wonderful Beaujolais wines. So the Beaujolais wines of the Saône are fantastic. Port of Dijon. So this is where we embark on the Saône cruise. Dijon, known for its half-timbered houses, known more for than the mustard. I know a lot of people, when we think of Dijon, we think of the mustard, but there's much more than that. So with the medieval Renaissance sites and the Palace of the Dukes of Burgundy, there's lots of wonderful museums. And we have the wonderful wines, wonderful pastries. You know, this is where Coq au Vin is from. You know, it has the world's finest wines, especially known for the Pinot Noir and the Chardonnay. Chateau, and then here we have the Hospice de Bonne. This is known because this was actually a hospital, and it was a charitable hospital, Hospice de Bonne, founded in the 15th century. So there was no cost to go to this hospital and be treated, but people were so grateful for the treatment that they received from Hospice de Bonne is that people started donating wine in lieu of payment. And it was, something that they wanted to do because this region is known for their fine wines. So Hospice de Bonne has some of the most spectacular wines in the world, and they have a very famous wine auction once a year. But also look how beautiful the Hospice de Bonne is with the Gothic architecture. It's the golden ages of the dukes. And of course, we have the wonderful Tourneau. And here you have the option of going to the Benedictine Abbey of St. Philbert, or choose instead to go to the Moda Chateau de Cormont, which dates back to the 17th century. And of course, we get to try some of the fantastic wines of the Burgundy region. And one thing to note too is that if you have guests who are interested in hiking and in biking in particular, this area is a great area to do so because it's flat. So you get to bike, really enjoy the scenery, some of the most spectacular scenery as you get to bike. And you get to bike and try the wonderful wines. Do not worry, you can bike there, but we will have we'll have a bus waiting for you so your guests can come back on the bus after enjoying the wonderful wines. So the Rhone, the Rhone is such a beautiful, southern France. It's, I want to say a slower pace of life where people just enjoy. There's fantastic food, fantastic wine, and really fantastic people when you're enjoying the Rhone. So the Rhone itinerary starts with Lyon. Lyon is the gastronomical capital of France. It's a big city, the second biggest city after Paris. We have a cooking school excursion where you can, create some foods. This is for those people, for those guests who want to know, who've been to Paris, who want to see something different. Wonderful. Lyon is definitely the place to be, and you can fly directly into Lyon, which is great. The fantastic cheeses, that's one of the things. When you go to France, you will enjoy the wonderful wine and cheese is a staple. Then we have the highlight here, truffle farm. So the black diamond truffles, this area of France is known for their fantastic truffles. But when we get to go see the truffle farm, and let me tell you, when we talk about a slower, gentler pace of life, this truffle farmer is the epitome of that. They used to truffle farm with pigs, but the pigs would eat the truffles, so they weren't the best. Now they use dogs. The truffle farmer is just so kind, so happy, so so grateful for what he has. He talked about it, so passionate about what he does, truffle farming. And when we left after the truffle farm, which is such a unique experience that you get to go and see if the dog will find truffles, and we were leaving, he said, enjoy life, take it easy. And if you ever get stressed, remember me and my dog. It takes me 50 years to create a truffle. So when we talk about, patience and in such a fast-paced world, you can't rush a truffle, and that's what makes them so special. So it's just about seeing that different kind of life and that different pace of life and enjoyment. That's what we like to do when we travel, is see how others live. And that's that experience that we get with the truffle farm. Very unique, very special. We come back with such a appreciation for the finer things, like a truffle, having that truffle butter. Now we're going to appreciate it a lot more after your truffle tour. Avignon has so many Roman ruins, nicknamed the city of the popes. Avignon was the seat of the papacy for the 14th century, and it has multiple UNESCO World Heritage sites. 7 popes resided in the Gothic Papal Palace, which you will visit during your tour. Excuse me. And then, of course, one of the great things I think about this itinerary is Arles. So in Arles, Van Gogh spent a few years in Arles when he was there. And this is in Arles, this is one of the spots that inspired Van Gogh. And one of the things that I think is so cool about Arles is that as you're walking through the streets of Arles with all the Roman ruins, and it's so quaint and it's so beautiful, and then your guide will be talking about Van Gogh and the inspiration, and then she'll say, you see this cafe? This is inspired Van Gogh. And then they'll show you the picture of the actual picture that Van Gogh painted, a picture of the painting, and you're just like, wow, it looks exactly the same. So really, like, you're walking through back in time in history what inspired Van Gogh and what he saw. He has Starry Night in Avignon as well. So this is such a cool city for those art lovers, people who are fans of Van Gogh. They will absolutely love it. They are fall in love with it because it's so special to see, this is what inspired him. He was here, he sat here and he painted this. It took him days, and this is where he was, and they get to do it. It's very, very unique. And of course, we have the Bordeaux region, known for its growing the fine wines and chateaux. Bordeaux is often referred to as a sleeping beauty with its impressive architecture and museums, with the wealth of Parisian style and glamour. So we have Le Borgne. You will be having a bread making excursion. This ancient windmill is how they used to make the grain for the bread. So you get to explore this on your guided tour. The bread making traditions that are passed down through generations. And again, we talk about immersing yourself in the experience, so you don't get just to learn about how they make the bread or see how they make the bread, but you can actually make the bread yourself. And of course, our guests have the opportunity to taste the world-renowned Grand Cru class wines throughout the itinerary. Bordeaux is a great choice for wine lovers. South Burgundy city of Macon, learning about the local vineyards, museums, and also its famous poet. Minister Alphonse de Lamartine. And the great thing about, when you go to Bordeaux is for the wine lovers. There's so much history on the fantastic different types of wines. You can really immerse yourself, learn about them, taste the wine, see how they're grown, the history. There's so much history to the French wines. And of course, a highlight is Saint-Emilion. So named as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the town offers stunning views of vineyards and beautiful examples of architecture from ancient times and modern day. Saint-Emilion is a world renowned for its red wines, specifically their Merlot and Cabernet Franc. And the beginning of the wine traditions back to the ancient Roman times. So Saint-Emilion has a title for the oldest wine producing area in Bordeaux. Then that, again, we learn about the fantastic wines of the region and also so beautiful. This area is also perfect for biking, because if you want to do some biking, it's very flat, beautiful. I mean, chateaus, bikes, wines, it's definitely the dream. The best way to enjoy this part, I would say, is in two wheels. And exclusive to AmaWaterways, we have our Festival de Bourges. And it's in a couple of months, the Bourges Festival will be celebrating 200 years, dating back to Roman times. It's one of the oldest wine producing regions in France. There are more than 400 winemakers who produce mostly red wines from the Merlot grapes. Our visitors can taste the celebrated Côtes de Bourges within the Bourges mansion, the House of Wines. And of course, the castle is a highlight for many. I don't know about you guys, but I love going into these medieval castles. So you could just imagine what life was like there. The same family has lived in this castle for 700 years. And the count actually does the tours himself, and local art students working on the restoration of the chapel. And one of the unique things about AmaWaterways is that when you go into the castles, these castles are family castles. They're still part of the estate. So you see their family photos, you see the family history, you see this is what the count was baptized in, and this is what he got married in. That's what makes it really special, because it's not just the beautiful architecture, but you get to learn about the life that was lived within the castle. And of course, we talk about the beautiful artwork. So with this one, a highlight is the Bassins de Lumières. This itinerary holds, it's so neat to go in there and really have that immersion into the art. So you delve deeply into the spectacular sound and light show. And we do have autumn sailings. It's a beautiful, I think these itineraries, any time of year is a good year, is a good year to go. But there's something special about the autumn as the trees are changing colors, the harvest season. It's a little bit, personally, I like it when it's a little bit cooler so I can wear my coat and scarf, and when you're walking down the street. So autumn sailings are something to consider for your guests. And we talked about our land packages. So we have our land package on the Rhone. We go from Barcelona to Paris. So Barcelona is a great land tour. We Saint-Emilion, we're in Paris. We are also in the Loire Valley, San Sebastian. These are all land packages that we offer with our cruises. So our land package stays are 4 and 5 5-star hotels. We do include a breakfast. We also include portage fees. We have included city tours. We include the transfers between the hotel and the ship. And again, we talked about the cruise manager being there with you the whole time. We have our fantastic offers. Save up to 20% for 2024 and 2025. So valid on new reservations made through September 30th. But between you and I, because you're on this call today, most of these dates will be extended, but there are some that will be removed. So we will be sending you We will be sending you a new list of dates for that have the 20% off, but we have wonderful value with that 20% off. It's great value. This is the time to book your guests. 2025 is, 2025 and 2026 are booking fast. So for your guests that are looking to book the river cruise, the time is now because the booking trend is back and we want to make sure they get their ideal space. We have our fantastic offer, the Air Plus. Enjoy fixed air rates on select European sailings within 330 days of departure. For 2024 and 2025, it's $899 US from all gateways. This is a fantastic offer, $899 fixed rate from all gateways. And in 2026, our economy air is $999. We have our premium air for $22.99 and our business class air for $42.99. And again, this is throughout for all gateways. So it's very nice. Combinable with the 20% off. So you're able to stack them, which is very important. I know that guests like to do that. I know air has been high. So that's why we created these promos for you. And many of you already know we have our book 5 sail free. You earn a cruise to travel in 24 or 25 when you make 5 bookings with us, 5 FIT bookings. So take a look, you might be 1 booking away from your book 5 sail free. Of course, our AMA Academy. I hope that you've taken our AMA Academy. We have 3 modules on our AMA Academy. We have AmaWaterways, Heart of the River, the Danube River with AmaWaterways, Group Business, and the Rhine and Main-Moselle River. When you take the AMA Academy, you qualify for reduced FAM rates. And let's talk about our FAM opportunities. Our FAM rates open up 60 days before departure. Our FAM rates start at $11.14 per person or $14.51 Canadian dollars per person. And you do have to have completed at least 1 course of the AMA Academy to take our FAM rates. But this is the time, so within 60 days, we have a lot of people applying right now for FAMs. If we have the space, you're more than welcome to come on board. We welcome you because we know the best way for you to learn about our product is also to experience it firsthand. And here are some of our Seminar on the River dates now. So for here, you can see that some of them are outside of the 60 days. You can certainly book on those. These are our hosted FAMs with our wonderful BDMs. See, we have Provence, we talked about that. We talked about France. So France is a fantastic one. Best of Holland and Belgium, and Taste of Christmas. I have to say, if you haven't experienced New Year's in Europe, now that is certainly a special, it's going to be one of your most memorable New Year's experiences. And remember, you have your CLIA benefits. So you earn $50 bonus commission for 2024 and the Mekong River when you make a booking. So, and to redeem your CLIA benefit, you send it to reza@amawaterways.com. You do have your CLIA coupons, so please send those in. Take advantage of your fantastic benefits. And now we have a few minutes for questions. So please let me know if anyone has any questions.
Jessica, thank you so much for sharing. Oh, I can hear the.
Thank you. Thank you, Johanna.
I want to share just a few questions here. We do have about 10 minutes or so. So a recurring question that we're seeing from our attendees is, could you speak to the guest and cruise staff ratio on board, and if clients on board were to go on excursions, what those small groups would look like, or is it self-guided?
No, definitely they're hosted. All of our excursions are guided. And because we offer such a wide variety of excursions, at any given time, we can be offering 4 or 5 excursions going out at the same time. Usually our tour groups are about 10 to 15. And then 10 to 15. And on our buses, on our buses, if we are bussed in, we'll have 2 groups of 10 or 2 groups of 15, and then they separate. We also have, I didn't mention our gentle walkers tours. So the gentle walker tour, that one is usually about, again, less than 10. That one will be in a minivan to get the guests even closer to the city center so they don't really have to walk. And our guest to crew ratio, our average river cruises are 156 people, and our crew is, so it's 1 to 3. 1 to 3 is our guest to crew ratio.
Perfect. Thank you for answering that question, Jessica, and providing that information. I'm actually glad that you brought up the excursion. You called it the Gentle Walkers excursion. Is that
Yes.
correct? Yeah, and
Yeah, so the gentle walkers, because one thing too that river cruising, you know, we talked about it growing and how it's adapted and changed, is that now we have multi-generational travel. We see a lot more multi-generational travels on the rivers, especially around Christmas time, you know, and the summers. And then it's perfect because you have, you know, grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, and the grandkids. And, you know, grandma and grandpa, if they wanted to, can, you know, go onto the gentle walkers, which is what it is a little bit less walking. So instead of walking 10 minutes into town, you take a van, that'll take you into town, and then you walk just around the highlights, you know, into the cathedral or into, you know, the old town. And so you save your energies for the big, important, you know, destination. And it's really nice because what that's going to do is going to give you less uphill, less of sometimes we have a cute train that we can take in from one place to the other. You know, they'll go on a train around the city rather than walking all the city. So we have that available for all of our guests. And usually it's a pink group. So that's when people are like, oh, are you in the pink group today? Or what group are you in? So we do have that gentle walkers available for our guests. We also have late risers on certain days where people who want to sleep in, you can sleep in, you know, before you go out onto your city tour.
Great, thank you. And just to stay on that topic of people who may need just a different type of excursion or a different type of accommodation, could you speak to if a family comes on and let's say grandpa needs his walker or a wheelchair, could you just speak to our agents about how they can go about requesting those special accommodations?
So walker, definitely they would bring them with them. We offer we offer walking sticks, and we also offer a stick. It's kind of like that has a chair on it. So people, when they walk, they're to help assistance, you can walk with it. And then also has the little stool pops out. So people can do that when they sit, so they can sit on the excursion while the guide is talking. Walkers are definitely something that they do bring along. You can certainly bring those along. Also rollators, but you can certainly bring those along. Just let us know so we can put it on the booking. We just want to know, and that would be stored in the cabin, but there's lots of free space available to store those, because the rollators and the walkers, you know, they usually become flatter too, so they don't take up a lot of space. When it comes to wheelchairs, one thing to know is that in Europe, they don't have ADA the same way we have in the States. So remember that the wheel, you know, it's going to be cobblestone, it's going to be gravel, it's going to be uphill. So it's important that the guests are aware when coming on board what the terrain is going to be like when you're walking around for the city tours. They can certainly bring their wheelchair with them or their scooters. If they do bring a scooter, people bring collapsible scooters is what people are bringing on board. They bring them with them from the States. So they bring it when they travel with it, and then they would store it in their staterooms.
Very valuable
Very
information.
valuable information.
And just another question, seems that some of our agents AMA, could you just speak about, I guess, what you would say is the perfect guest or the perfect client to reach out to AMA when they're first kind of looking through what options they might have for a specific client?
Well, for me, if you have ocean cruisers, if you have your premium guests, if you have your luxury guests, definitely. For me, I think that anyone and everyone would enjoy an AmaWaterways cruise. If you want to travel well, right? If you want to travel well, if you want the more inclusive experience, you'll enjoy an AmaWaterways cruise because of all the excursions, because of all the inclusions, right? We have all of our excursions included. We have all of our meals included. We have the wines, we have the beer, we have the sip and sail. There's so much value to that. So one thing to focus on is when you're working with maybe first-time river cruisers who are going from ocean to river, the price is going to seem different. But remember that it's not so much what you pay to get on the ship, but you pay to get off the ship. Because our friends know that when you come off an ocean cruise, you're going to have a certain number of expenses, right? My last fam that I was on, it was last November. And I had a TA with me, and she reached out to me saying, "Oh, I didn't get my onboard statement. I can't find it. Can you get it for me?" And I reached out to my ops team, and they said, "Oh, it's because she spent $0. She spent $0 on board. That's why she couldn't find her statement." How many cruises have your guests been on where they haven't spent any money on board? It's very doable on the river because so many things are included already for you. So that I would recommend is if someone wants more of an intimate experience, wants more time in town, anyone who's thinking of doing a land tour through Europe, oh, definitely 100% offer them the river. It'll make their life so much easier. They don't have to worry about trains. They don't have to worry about buses. They don't have to worry about packing and unpacking. To me, that's absolutely it. Offer it to your guests. You will be a hero. They will love it. And from the advisor side, putting together these FITs is so complicated, right? You have to work with the supplier and the tours and the buses and the trains, and all these things are so challenging. I admire advisors who put all this together. But on the river, it's all done for you. So you don't have to do that. That's the beauty of it. It's seamless. It'll be a completely seamless process. But I talked about families, right? We see multi-generational families. We see people celebrating also, graduations. We have, on average, retired guests, 60 plus is our average, but also very young, I call it young at heart, very fit, able people who want to still enjoy and do go into the city and take the bikes and do the hikes. And people enjoy, wine lovers. We have such fantastic wine regions. Cruise, of course, we have ocean cruisers. Any ocean cruiser also who goes who wants to go into Europe, this is definitely a great option because again, you get to see so much and you're right in the heart of town. But really, for those guests, anyone that you have guests who did a premium or luxury ocean cruises, it's definitely someone who you can transition into river. And if you have someone who's done those large ships and who's taken, the biggest suites on the big ocean ships, I would recommend the AmaMagna because the AmaMagna is that perfect transitional vessel because AmaMagna is so large compared to your traditional river cruise ship. It's the perfect transition bridge from big ocean to river. I would recommend the AmaMagna.
We are just about out of time here, Jessica, and just on behalf of CLIA and our attendees, I do want to say thank you very much for sharing all of this valuable information. I do want to pass along a lot of the compliments that you're getting for a great presentation, very valuable information that you're sharing through the question and answer session that we've just had. So thank you again. And to our attendees, if we didn't get to your question or if a question pops up, I am going to provide Jessica and her team the questions and your emails so that she can reach out to you afterwards. And Jessica, if you just want to share your contact information or where they can find contact information if they do have any questions, you do have a few minutes here.
Okay, great. If you have any questions, please send me an email. My email is Jessica with one S at AmaWaterways.com. So JESICA at AmaWaterways.com. And thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for spending an hour with me. Thank you for your interest in AmaWaterways. And our story continues. We are the heart of the river, and we hope to be seeing you at one of our local events, or even better, we hope to welcome you on board, you and your guests on board very soon.
Jessica, thanks again. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great day.